There is a small island in the Venice lagoon, smaller than a square mile, where craftspeople have been making glass by mouth and hand for nearly 1,000 years. Their workshops glow orange at all hours, the furnaces never go out, and the techniques have been passed from parent to child for so many generations that nobody can count them anymore. Today, we go inside one of those workshops. Hello, and welcome to What Do You Actually Do? The podcast where we explore the fascinating and often misunderstood jobs people have, and we learn English through real conversation. I'm your host, Alex, and today we're going to Murano, the famous glass-making island in Venice, Italy. Our guest is Maria, who is a master glassblower in a family workshop that has operated continuously for over 400 years. Maria, thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, Alex. Thank you. I am calling you from the workshop, so if you hear noise in the background, that is the furnace.
That is incredible. So, Maria, when you tell people you are a glassblower, what's their reaction?
People are usually very curious, especially when I say my workshop is on Murano. Some of them have visited the island as tourists. They have watched a demonstration. But almost nobody understands how long it takes to learn this craft, or how dangerous it is, or how physically demanding it is. They see the finished bowl, not the 20 years of training behind it.
So, in simple terms, what does a glassblower actually do?
I take molten glass at 1,000 degrees Celsius, gather it on the end of a long metal pipe, and shape it by blowing through the pipe, by spinning it, by cutting it, by using simple wooden and metal tools into objects. Vases, bowls, drinking glasses, sculptures, chandeliers. Everything I make starts as a glowing ball of orange liquid on the end of a pipe.
1,000 degrees. How do you not burn yourself constantly?
We do, sometimes. Every glassblower I know has burns on their arms, some on their faces. We wear glasses to protect our eyes, but we cannot wear gloves. We need too much sensitivity in our fingers. So we work close to the heat with bare hands, and we learn to read the glass. You feel when something is too hot or cooling too fast. After many years, your hands know.
How does someone become a glassblower? Is this still a craft you can learn at school or only by family?
Both. There is a glass-making school in Venice, and there are courses for foreigners who come for a few weeks. But to become a master, what we call a maestro, you must apprentice with one. There is no shortcut. I started in my family workshop at 15, sweeping the floors. By 18, I was helping with simple shapes. At 25, I was making my own pieces. I am now 38, and I am only just starting to call myself a maestro. 23 years of training.
23 years.
Yes, and I am still learning. Every day I see something my father can do that I cannot.
Your family has been doing this for 400 years. Can you trace your family tree back through glass?
We can. My family records go back to the late 16th century. We have certificates from the Venetian Republic giving our ancestors permission to make glass on Murano. There were strict rules in those days. Glassmakers were forbidden to leave the island on pain of death because the techniques were a state secret.
Forbidden to leave on pain of death?
Yes, exactly. Murano glass was the technology of its time, and Venice protected it the way modern countries protect missile technology. If a glassblower fled to another country, the Republic sent assassins. It is dark history, but it is real.
So, why was the island chosen for glassmaking in the first place?
Because of fire. In the year 1291, all glass furnaces in Venice were ordered to move to Murano because they kept burning down the city. Glass was originally made in the center of Venice. Then there were too many fires, so the city said, take your dangerous fires and go to that small island over there. And here we are, more than 7 centuries later, still on that island.
That is an incredible piece of history. So, walk me through what a typical day looks like for you.
I arrive at the workshop at 7 a.m. The first thing I do is check the furnace, which has been running all night. The glass inside is liquid, ready to work. We work in pairs. Most pieces require a maestro and a servente, an assistant. We discuss what we are making that day. Maybe a chandelier piece, maybe a wedding gift, maybe a custom commission. Then we start. I work standing for 6 to 8 hours, walking back and forth between the furnace and the bench, reheating the glass, shaping it, blowing it. I do not sit down except to eat. The temperature in the workshop in summer is 45 degrees Celsius.
45 degrees inside the workshop?
Yes, the furnace generates enormous heat. In summer, it is brutal. We drink water constantly. We take many small breaks. Some of us lose 3 or 4 kilograms of body weight per workday in sweat. In winter, of course, the workshop is wonderful. The whole building is warm.
Tell me about the actual process of making a glass piece, from start to finish.
Let us say I am making a simple vase. First, I gather molten glass on my pipe. I dip the pipe into the furnace and rotate it to pick up a hot mass. I bring it back to the bench where I shape it with wet wooden tools. Then I blow gently through the pipe and a bubble forms inside the glass. I keep heating, blowing, shaping in a constant rhythm. I might add color by rolling the glass over colored glass chips. I might twist it to add patterns. The whole process for a small vase takes maybe 20 minutes from start to finish, but every second of those 20 minutes is critical. If you stop too long, the glass cools and cracks. If you rush, the shape is wrong.
20 minutes from a glowing ball to a finished vase? That is extraordinary.
And then it cools slowly in a special oven called an annealer. It cools for 12 hours. If you cool it too fast, it cracks because of internal stress. So, the next morning when I open the annealer, that is the moment I see whether the piece I made yesterday is good. That moment, every morning, is full of hope and anxiety.
What's the hardest part of the job?
2 things. Physically, the heat. After 15 years standing in front of a furnace, my body knows. I have problems with my back. My eyes are tired from staring at orange light. The job is brutal on your body. The maestros who reach 70 in this trade are exceptional. Mentally, it is the precision under pressure. Glass does not give second chances. If you make a small mistake at minute 18 of a 20-minute piece, the entire piece is ruined. I have made vases for 2 hours, almost finished, and drop them on the floor. They explode into thousands of pieces. You start over. There is no way to repair.
That is heartbreaking. And the best part?
The pride. When I make a piece that I am happy with, really happy, the way only a maker is happy, it stays with me for days. I think about it. I imagine the person who will buy it, where it will live, how the light will fall through it. There's a deep satisfaction in making something beautiful with your hands.
And the other?
The legacy. I am the 17th generation of my family to make glass on this island. My father is the 16th. My grandfather was the 15th. When I look at a piece I made today, I see the techniques I learned from my father, who learned from his, who learned from his. I am part of an unbroken chain that goes back nearly half a millennium. That is something I cannot find anywhere else.
That is moving. Do you have a memorable story?
One I love. 2 years ago, an elderly Japanese man came to the workshop with his daughter. He had visited Murano 50 years earlier as a young university student. He had been so inspired by the glass, he had become a glassblower himself in Japan and made a career of it. He came back to thank our family because the maestro who had welcomed him on that visit 50 years before had been my grandfather. My father came out from the back and shook his hand. They had not seen each other in 50 years. They drank wine together that afternoon. The Japanese man passed away last year. His daughter wrote to us. He had been talking about that visit and his return until his last weeks.
That is wonderful.
The craft connects people across decades. I love that.
A funny one?
Many. Here is one. A few years ago, a famous Italian footballer came to the workshop wanting to commission a vase for his wife. He was very confident. He said he wanted to try blowing it himself. He would make it with my help. I said, okay. I gathered the glass, gave him the pipe, told him to blow gently. He took an enormous breath and blew like he was inflating a beach ball. The glass exploded. Tiny pieces everywhere. He stood there in shock with the pipe in his hand. He said only in Italian, "Ah." Then we both laughed for 10 minutes. He bought a vase that I made instead, and he tipped me 500 euros for the entertainment.
Like inflating a beach ball.
He still sends me a Christmas card every year.
For someone listening who is thinking, I want to learn this craft, what would you tell them?
3 things. First, visit a workshop before you commit. Many people romanticize glassmaking until they spend 3 hours in a furnace room. Some quit after 1 day. Make sure your body and your mind can handle the heat and the pace. Second, find a real teacher and commit to a long apprenticeship. There are short courses, weekend workshops, university programs. They are useful for foundations, but if you want to be a maestro, you need years with one master. There is no other way. And third, accept that you will never finish learning. I have been at this for 23 years, and I learn something new every week. The masters in Murano, who are 80 years old, say the same thing. The craft is endless, and that is what makes it beautiful.
That is a beautiful place to end. Maria, thank you so much for sharing your world with us.
Grazie, Alex. Come visit us in Murano one day.
I will. That was Maria, a glass blower from Murano. Now let's review some useful vocabulary. Molten. Molten means melted by very high heat. Molten glass is liquid, glowing orange, ready to be shaped. Second, furnace. A furnace is a large oven that produces extreme heat. Murano glass furnaces stay burning 24 hours a day. Third, apprenticeship. An apprenticeship is a long period of training where a beginner learns a skilled trade from a master. Maria's apprenticeship lasted many years. Fourth, maestro. Maestro is the Italian word for master. In Murano, a maestro is a master glassblower with many years of experience. And finally, commission. A commission is when someone pays an artist or maker to create a specific piece for them. Maria takes commissions for vases, sculptures, and chandeliers. And that's it for today's episode of What Do You Actually Do? A huge thank you to Maria for opening her workshop to us. Join us next time when we move from a quiet Murano workshop to the busiest lobby in Manhattan. We're going to New York City to talk to Claire, a head concierge at a 5-star hotel, who spends her days turning impossible guest requests into graceful realities. Until then, take care.